prior administration really crippled this city and made some terrible, terrible decisions. I mean, my God, he sold a school down here that we had a bid for thousands of dollars and sold it to a buddy for $1,000. Okay, not related, but those are the kinds of decisions we're making. We're trying to correct those problems now.
I agree with that, but you can't retroactively enforce something.
Exactly.
That you found now, once you've already submitted the permit though, because he's already started building. You should have done that before you ever got a slab down on the ground.
Yep.
You can't go backwards. Because Article 1, Section 13 of the Missouri Constitution states that you can't retroactively enforce ordinance.
Here, here.
Thank you. And I also think what's challenging for the
I wanna talk to y'all
builders
before y'all
is
leave.
that we have to have notice of these things if you're gonna ask us to do them. And you know, and to be playing devil's advocate here, if you're gonna run the city, maybe you should follow your ordinances.
We did send those out, right?
The stop work order isn't in.
No, before the stop work order. The stop work order was,
We have a June and a July, and I'm mentioning silk fences, and I don't have any
Well,
letter.
the problem is, you gotta understand the full picture. Jeff just represented that the road issue has been resolved, okay? And that all the erosion problems. We have the Swanks here, that are sitting here, they're one of the homeowners, and it hasn't been resolved because,
Which number, sir, has not been resolved on the engineering?
no, I'm talking
issue?
about a residence.
Yes, but you've given me an engineer report and asking you to present a plan to about this.
Right.
What number are you referencing so that my client can alleviate this issue? That you're
Really,
saying
all
he didn't do?
All of them.
Okay,
I mean, all of them.
okay, so you're advising that you don't think he's done enough.
Well, he's represented that he's taking care of the road issue. It hasn't been taken care of.
I don't know if I've done that, sir, but, I said we've handled the things in the report. We have not advised that we fixed any road issue. We've advised what we've done in the report.
Okay, okay.
And I'm looking at 1 through 7, sir, which is on the second page, which are the recommendations your engineer you hired advised us to do. And that's what we're doing.
Okay. All right, what about number 2?
Number 2, we do not own that area, however, that has been taken care of.
No, it hasn't.
Provide adequate erosion control, BMPs to prevent future issue. They recommend a silt sock or other runoff barrier should be provided or placed along the downstream side of the property to slow and filter water. My client built a other runoff barrier. He then, this morning, I made him go out and put a silt fence out there too.
We got the picture.
I
That
can't
is-
believe this.
Okay.
We've done 2 things,
Okay.
put 2.
Okay, 2 things here. It's window dressing. Number 2 is even covering the path of the erosion.
You've asked me to put it placed along the downstream side of the property. That was done. We put an additional runoff barrier. That was done,
Okay,
sir.
let me show you something here. You might want to take a look at it. Okay.
I don't want to waste any more of your time.
No,
or
agreed,
the city's
agreed.
time.
But you have to understand what your client is representing to you,
I
okay?
saw it. I've been out there.
No, you haven't. Take a look here. Take a look at my photograph.
I'm calling the city administrator.
Come here. Excuse me, miss. Take a look at this.
Okay.
Okay?
That's what you do.
Does it look like he did the entire property? No, he just did it.
He doesn't own that, sir.
I don't own this.
No.
He doesn't own or control that.
I don't
You want him
own
to
those.
trespass? I'm not trying, and I understand you're not trying to be biased because your property's
Okay.
involved in it.
All right.
And I understand that, and I don't want you to be biased.
All right, well, let me ask you this. Mr. and Mrs. Swank, you own the property in the middle, okay? I understand that you retained Mr. Hodges' landscape person to help you out build the wall and do some erosion control, correct?
He's here, right?
Okay, and is it your understanding, or can you explain to them what your understanding and conversations have been as to completing the erosion or completing the grading of that area? Who's responsible for it, who's paying for it?
Well, I paid for the wall, that was my doings, but the contouring of the yard to change the water flow away from my house, that's been done.
Okay, and who did that?
This fellow right here.
I ate the cost because
Okay.
a year ago we had a 4.5-inch rain
Okay,
and we didn't have enough time to come back in and get seed and grass to grow.
okay.
So
And who paid for that recently as far as,
nobody, that came out of, that's me.
I think that's what he just said, guys.
Yeah, I ate the cost obviously it's the right thing to do, it's not their fault, it's not really my fault either that we got rain after rain after rain.
Okay.
And blew mine. I tried to keep it as smooth as possible, we had about a 1.5% slope away from their house.
Okay.
Started off pretty good, but we had seed and straw, everything looked great, and then 5 inches.
He's recusing
We'll
himself,
see you later.
but he's still gonna,
That
Throw
issue,
out
had-
Tommy.
we flattened it out, and I think we've got a nice, we've
this cat right
cut it
here,
back down to heartland, shaped it away from the house.
he's
a
one
little
of the
steeper.
disputing owners.
So if there is any erosion for you guys in the future, it should just eat the middle out, not come toward the wall.
Okay, so now what happens when erosion continues to come on that property below?
It should, as soon as we get grass established.
I
There shouldn't
agree, it
be any-
should.
There shouldn't be any set, I mean, I can't stop the water, that's always gonna happen to live downhill. But
I
but we
appreciate-
have stopped, there's a vegetative buffer, a lot of the stormwater will hit our stockpile and then go into that green space area. So
This
we're
is gonna
stopping
make a
setting
great
it
story.
right on your site, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and I
I'm also
can,
not an engineer, but.
okay, and I can
I can't
appreciate
tell the difference.
your wishes of wanting to do that, but yet that's to be proven yet, because we just had a couple plethora
Yeah, how does it
downfalls.
look? There's
We had a
any
couple-
sediment running onto your property from that side,
Okay.
after 4 inches of rain.
And I know you're not trying to be biased.
No,
because you
but
have
I can
a
assure
problem.
you-
Almost impossible. I'm curious if it was somebody else's house, if you would be fighting this hard.
Exactly.
Okay, well, it doesn't make any difference.
It doesn't make
Well,
any
they're
It makes a
trying to
huge
change the
difference.
city and
No,
make it
I'm-
better, sir. I
No,
didn't know
I'm
about
not
that.
trying to make it
If
better.
you were truly recusing yourself, you wouldn't be a part of this meeting.
You wouldn't be
I agree.
speaking.
Exactly.
And it's,
I'm
I'm
not-
not, it's not a personal attack on
Okay,
you, I
no,
don't
that's
know
fine.
you all.
But
Well,
you,
If you're truly
okay.
recusing yourself, you need to step out.
But
Yep.
you have to understand something. When it comes to property damage,
What?
okay, now
what
wait a
damage
second.
on the property?
Okay, I'm gonna
You
explain
have
it.
to prove it to me.
Okay.
Show me.
I've got a year and a half of documentations, not of statements, not of witnesses or anything. They're time-stamped photographs showing the problem, okay? I appreciate your effort, your work on the work that you did. But these last 2 storms we had here in the last couple of weeks still came down into my barn.
Of course, the water's gonna come down. I can't do anything about the
Okay.
water.
Okay.
That's, you can ask God to raise your house up another 20 feet.
Well, I think a prudent,
I can't, you live down a hill.
I
don't know
think
what
a
you wanna
prudent
do.
individual, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was originally zoned for commercial, and then I went to residential.
Yeah.
But I think a prudent individual takes a look at the land and figures out what the problems may exist, not that they are, but they may exist. He's got the satellite photograph showing what that water flow is. That's gonna be a problem.
For you,
So
it's
there-
better you bought the property.
So therefore,
That's your
I-
due diligence.
And I just want the record to reflect, we had 1, 2, 3, are you all board members here, councilmen, right? You have, and you're the mayor, thank you. They have said maybe 2 things
Okay.
compared to what you have.
We've conversed with him and let him, because he has firsthand knowledge, we don't.
But here's another
That's a
thing.
biased issue right there.
We've talked about this off the record, so to speak, you know, I've gone over and looked at it, asked questions. Susan, planning and zoning, has gone over and looked, we've talked about it
Several times, we're both
more
on
than
planning and
once,
zoning.
many times.
So let's,
Try up, what would solve the entire problem
let's talk about
would
that.
be do the right thing.
What
When
is
you're a
that?
builder, you
okay,
do
let
the
me,
right thing.
this is my opinion, what needs to be done, okay? That need, dirt
Your
work,
unbiased opinion.
okay, my biased opinion. On those 3 lots, dirt work needs to be completed, that he should have completed, to build up a drainage system that doesn't come into my property, okay?
So you want
We
to,
talked multiple times in a year and a half, he was gonna put in a drain, and then I even put in a drain down through my property to allow him to tap into that he chose not to, because he said I'd take care of it. It was not taken care of. He said he was gonna build a 3-foot wall, he did not do that. He said he was gonna, in him and his property, he was gonna build 10 feet of, I think, sod to help the runoff, so it doesn't, the silt doesn't come down on the street and into my property. That wasn't done. Now, to give you an idea, in between house 2 and 3, the middle house and the 3rd house where the stop order is, okay? he built up
This guy's
a rock
one of the
area and put a
closing
cement
home
wall in
So
for,
he shouldn't even
to
be
help
speaking
stop the
at all.
flooding. It didn't stop it because the mud stains still come over the edge from where it flows. And you can see those stains to this day.
Well, clearly he's attempting to resolve flow issues.
But he
Of course
didn't
it's past
correct
the
the
young
problem.
one,
Just
hoping-
attempt does not
No.
absolve anything.
Well, here's what I can advise. You have given me things to do in writing. We have done what the engineer reports advised us. Whether or not your engineer is correct in his assessment of what needs to be done, I don't know. But I'm not an engineer, I'm an attorney. And so I need to know how we can get back to work to help absolve these issues.
So you're claiming that you have met all 7 of those?
So there are some that I wanted to talk about, like this stabilized disturbed areas, number 5, as soon as possible, and new seeding with mulch over an adequate depth of topsoil. It's an active construction site right now, we can't put topsoil on, but as soon as we get that stop work order in the condition, that's the first thing that's gonna get put in, I promise you that.
Okay, you see, what you're coming and saying to us right now,
I've gone through line by line, sir.
what you're coming and saying to us would not have involved them hiring you. All we needed was Jeff or his wife to come to us and say, what's going on? That's why we said, on the stop work order, we just said, Jeff, we need you to come to City Hall. Because it wasn't a one-piece stop work order. This wasn't even the main thing. The main thing was that Jeff went ahead and sprayed insulation when he said he wasn't, and covered up stuff that was covered up.
I never said I
So
wasn't.
there's something about insulation.
Yeah,
I
don't
wasn't
know about.
spraying insulation.
Yeah, you do.
Well, it's
That
not
was the
in
first
It
part.
was, I know, it was related
That
to
was
the
after-
stop.
All we wanted him to do was to stop working and come and talk to us.
So we're doing.
But now it's all into this. It was very simple. He did not, he thought he was like, I'll do what I wanna do. Just like he's done on every house
Came
in
out on the
the
7th. Stop work order came in on the 7th. I picked up it when.
On the 9th, he came in and got his business license and asked Becky to set up a meeting with you guys.
No, it was June.
That was June, and that never
So,
happened.
But I picked up the stop work order on
Well,
13th.
all I
It
can
was
say
on that
is,
Friday.
we're discussing it.
Okay,
there's a
let's discuss it
plan.
and figure it out.
Let's
Okay.
get
You
back
guys
to
are
work,
confused
let's
on
get
your
your
timing.
property in a
And,
better
and
condition.
I think what's important for you to do is sit with your client when you go back to an office and sit down and
I
talk this.
agree,
Okay.
so, but
Well-
part of this is I have to know, and this
Yeah.
is what I have, and
Okay.
I don't have
Okay.
anything about
He wants to keep
insulation.
But
talking over her.
understand something,
Okay,
the points 1 through 6,
yes,
don't just deal with that third piece of property, it's dealing with all those
he
properties.
doesn't own and control those, so
But
how
the-
would you like me to alleviate that?
Because he created the problem.
Okay, so we're gonna have to ask each individual owner consent to get onto their property.
Whatever, they'll give it to you. Oh, sweet. Excuse
Well-
me, Mr. Swank, would you allow that?
What was,
Would you allow Jeff to come on your property so we can put all that drainage in and get it taken care of?
yeah,
Okay.
So we have consent, but I'm saying is, what we need to own and control is what we have. The board wanted to hear our plan, we're working to resolve it, can we please get back to work?
Absolutely.
Thank you, that's all I came here to do, it's
Okay.
so nice meeting you all.
Okay.
If you have any additional questions, I will leave you my contact information, please give me oh, you have it.
Very good.
You have it in my email,
Yeah.
I've gotten the April letter, and if you do have another stop work order, come to me, tell me what I need to specifically tell my client to do, and we'll do it, okay?
Okay.
But we can't just call the mayor,
Seems
because I
like one
gotta
of the
know.
council members is a little bit fucked
May I
up.
make a comment?
So they're gonna shut down this man from doing work on his house.
A lot of our rules and regs were not followed in years past,
I get it.
and
I
stuff
think your comment
happened.
about the dollar exchange or the.
Stuff happened
Oh my
that
gosh,
shouldn't
yes.
have happened in the manner it did. And as a
This is gonna
result
be
of that, and
continued
it's not
story, and
just
I'll
this
talk to these
property,
folks
these properties, it's other
after the
places in
meeting.
town too. They were allowed to do what was not in the best interest of the landowners around them, nor the city. Because when something goes wrong, who do they come to say, fix my problem? They come to the city.
And we appreciate your time and wanting to better your city, and I appreciate your candor and all
Good job,
of this.
lady.
And we're still learning in how to do that, right? And I get that, and I'm not here to judge, I'm just here to get it, to
All right,
figure
well,
out how to do that.
your client needs to know, okay,
Yes, sir.
that okay, all right? Just because he sold 2 lots that affect my property, he doesn't get to go like this.
Well,
But a
Your name-
stormwater drain at that cul-de-sac would help a bunch, wouldn't it?
Oh, and it's gonna be, but
Well-
here's the problem, Jeff.
No.
Until we figure out
That's
how
rude.
much,
And that's what this engineer
let
is
me,
doing.
let me speak to your attorney. She's a little easier to talk to.
Oh, that's unnecessary.
Until we can figure out, the city is gonna put a drain in.
yes, sir.
But we have, from the engineer, which cost us
I asked him, he said that you guys charged him, I did.
to figure out what Jeff is gonna do
Yes, sir.
and tell us what he is willing to do,
Yes.
then we can start the drain. But I don't know whether to build a drain this big
Yes.
or this big.
That
Point
big,
to
probably,
the
I think
engineer.
you're gonna need that one. I'm not an engineer though.
And so you understand too,
That's gonna be more than
the
this.
cul-de-sac issue is, it will be addressed. They've agreed to do that.
We
But
will.
what hasn't been addressed is the runoff from those other properties that were
And as
created.
soon as I have written notice of that, sir, let's address that and we'll
Okay.
handle it, and I think that's the best way.
That's
As it
fair.
relates to this RSMO statute violation, I'm assuming we're handled with that and
We're
you're talking
handled
with your
with it.
boss. Thank you, guys. Please email me if you have any additional questions or concerns.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I got one question.
Okay.
When was she called me one time to come to a meeting. I was taking my boys to the airport out of town. One time, is that correct?
That was for
2 different
July.
days.
July 19th meeting.
And then got the, and then July,
Yes, you did.
July 19th meeting, you
But
called on
that's the
17th.
only time you called me and had me come to the meeting.
Okay, but then you came down after you got your,
Stop work order.
before that, because I said, oh, you.
Well, the engineer reported, and I said, let's set up a meeting. Let's set up a meeting.
No, that's not, no, I said, you guys need to
Okay. We sent him letters that came back, is that correct?
No, he got them, they didn't come back, I got.
Oh, you got signed, so you got the letters. but you
No, I
didn't-
never got an April letter.
We never
You
got
never got
April's.
April letter.
Somebody signed for him.
No, because you
No.
didn't send them certified. You only sent
And
July's
when you
letters
send letters
certified.
out, you ought to do it certified.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Any other questions, you know how to get ahold of me. Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Sorry, I should have held that.
Hey, I'm gonna do a story on y'all. I'm an accountability constitutionalist. I got a YouTube channel with thousands of followers.
Oh, wow.
But I will. You want me to run it by you before I post it?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. I'm JC News Now. A lot of my stories are gonna piss you off.
Now?
JC News Now.
No, he's talking to the okay.
But I got something to say, so I'm not gonna keep going.
Okay.
Back to